The existence of man on this oval-shaped planet called Earth has given birth to more than 10,000 religions, which is just an estimate for the current 21st century. Among the most influential religions that existed in the course of man's history is one with a weird name called Manichaeism, which existed as far back as the 3rd century. Who is the founder and what is the religion about? Well, you are about to know. Welcome to episode 12 of History's Most Influential Humans podcast with Damilare Mapa, where your humble host talks about some of the most influential humans who walked this earth, their lifetime, how they became so influential, and so much more. So like always, I'll be discussing the most important things you should know about today's influential human, and especially why he became so influential. Because of the fact that this bros called Mani existed as far back as the 3rd century, which is like 1700 years plus ago. Little truth is actually known about him, apart from the fact that he was the founder of Manichaeism, which didn't last too long. That's probably why you do not know about it. Born in the year 216, somewhere in ancient Babylonia, which was part of the Persian Empire at the time, now Iraq. Mani's father is said to have been a Jewish Christian at the time, but he lived in a society where there were quite a number of prevailing religions. At the ages of 12 and 24, Mani claimed he received somewhat of divine revelation from his acclaimed heavenly twin to leave his father's religion and preach what he called the true message. It is said that this is when he started his spiritual journey of enlightenment. He traveled as far as India and studied Hinduism and Buddhism and finally returned to Persia in the year 242. After his return, he went to the Iranian king at the time, Shapurwan, and dedicated to him his only book written in Persian called Shaburagan. But the king didn't convert to his religion and remained a Zoroastrian, who are members of an ancient religion founded by a man called Zoroaster. The king still allowed Mani's teaching and left him to practice his religion in Persia, where he gained his first massive followers, as he is said to have performed miracles such as levitation, teleporting, healing, and so on. The king's successor/son, Hamid, still allowed Mani's religion during his reign, but Hamid's successor persecuted Manichaeans during his reign and imprisoned Mani, who is said to have died within just a month. What a tragedy. Mani and Manichaeans had so many bizarre and pretty bold beliefs, but the major basics of the religion was that they believed in two gods, the god of light and the god of darkness. They believed that these two gods existed independently and were in constant battle with each other, which manifested in the human form or composition as the constant battle of the evil/bad inclinations of the flesh and the spiritual inclinations to do away with worldly things and free ourselves from the temptations of the flesh. Sounds weird, I know, but that's how I interpreted it. The community of Manichaeans was divided into two. The elect, who were like the extremely religious faction, forbidden from fleshy things like taking alcohol and harvesting crops, which is said to also be a form of murder. And the hearers, who were allowed to do these forbidden things of the flesh and provided the elect with things they needed to survive, like food, and in turn received prayers from the elect in order to be cleansed, while the hearers hoped to be reincarnated as elects in their next life. So you see how weird their beliefs were. And the main reason a lot of people would want to join this religion, most probably as hearers. The religion thrived between the 3rd and 7th centuries, and at its height was one of the most known religions in the world. Manichaeism reached its peak during the 4th century, reaching as far as the Roman Empire, Egypt, and spread across northern Africa, as places of worship were found all over these territories, after it started in the lands of Persia in the early years of the 3rd century. Manichaeism ultimately declined and virtually almost disappeared from the surface after various persecutions by different leaders in the Persian and Roman Empire up until the 7th century. But the religion was able to thrive in China probably until the 14th century after several oppositions and persecutions. Mani's intention for this religion was to create a universal religion that would, in his own ideas, complete the various religions at the time, which he deemed incomplete. But it turned out that even he wasn't as knowledgeable and divinely guided as he thought, as his proclamation of the independent good God and bad God was easily flawed by mere human thinking. But that still wouldn't stop people from believing in whatever they wish to believe now, would it? Oh well, that's it on today's quite short but interesting episode of HMIH Podcast, fam. I hope you learned something new. If you did, kindly drop a comment and let's be friends. Till next 2 weeks, fam. Stay safe, and if you can, pray for me tomorrow, because tomorrow is my birthday. Peace.